Here's what's bothering me right now, and I want to hear why. I've started to try to figure out. I had a thought today about why people think that the economy is bad, and why they've forgotten how it was under Trump. And I think it's because, and I thought of my cousin Scotty, who was he was in Raqqa, and he came back after his team got blown up, and one of the head guy got, and he came back and he was fine for about 3 or 4 months, and then it started to kind of get to him. And I think there's a avoidance. COVID was a nightmare for everybody financially. People lost families, and I think people have forgotten how bad it was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, during COVID?
But I think it's, I think it's with kids, like a reset button. Like when kids go through trauma or screaming, they just kind of reset. They'll go right to sleep.
Yeah.
Because so I think
he whitewashes. So it's what you say all the time. He does what Goebbels did. As soon as something bad happens, he denies it in the moment. Then he says, well, if it happened, it was okay that it happened. Then if it happened, it was okay and I didn't do it. And then he talks about how it was no big deal, and he says the opposite of what happened. Greatest presidency. He's been saying again, better than Lincoln, better than FDR.
I've done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln.
And he just said last week, better presidency, many are saying, than FDR. And so people just hear it repeated like that.
But this is where I have a problem. I think some of it is the trauma of COVID. We all went through trauma in COVID. You got to remember, during COVID also, there was protests going on. There were people. Yeah. Do you guys remember how the racial shit got done? Yep. Do you remember like George Floyd happened?
Yeah.
Like, do you guys remember our country was on fire? We had Boogaloo Boys who blamed the black protesters for burning down the police station, and yet they have video of the Boogaloo Boys burning down the police station.
No, they got charged.
I don't know. I was going to finish that. And so they arrested them, and the guys that Kyle Rittenhouse, who his mommy dropped Charlottesville. He gave racists and assholes a free ride.
What about Georgia? They got charged with federal hate crimes too.
The guys that, oh my God,
Ahmaud Arbery in the neighborhood, jogging in the neighborhood.
Just jogging. Yeah. He was just running, and they chased him down like a dog. And this all happened under Trump, and he kept giving excuses for it. Do you remember when he said at Charlottesville that there was good people on both sides? No, there fucking wasn't. There was Nazis on one side, and there was people protesting Nazis. That's different.
I think this relates to the economy and the brainwashing part of it. That it's.
What do you think that is? Like, what is it? Because the economy, we're on the road.
Yeah.
Countrywide, the economy's fucking booming. Everything's packed. Everything's full. People are spending money. Bars are packed. The airports are stunned. Explain to me, like, what is it? Because
there's probably one piece of this whole thing that is still in effect, and the fact that Biden hasn't really strongly taken it down, and that's the greedflation part.
Yeah,
that is related to
but he
COVID.
Can't. Private companies.
He
can't, but he could come out and on the front of every speech,
the companies?
Fucking go after him, name it, say, do what he can to go. And some have responded
just don't
like
talk
Target.
about chips. Chip bag. There's less chips in the bag. The Snickers is just much shorter.
Because if anything,
no joke.
I knew that was coming.
If anything has taught us about the Trump is that if you get people can be convinced, the right is good at just brainwashing them.
Well,
they
you
just
say it
go over
it's
over
Hitler.
again.
Yeah, you just say it over and over again. Yeah.
But if you tell them the truth over and over again,
it's also the optics of Biden's age. We always say Obama became president. He went into the White House. He walked back out, and he was gray. It happens all the time. Biden
Bush,
had nowhere to go. And so
there was no telomeres left.
So while this administration under him has been one of the greatest, according to historians.
By the way, if you
time,
just look at the record, wait, I'm going to be clear about this. Sorry to interrupt you. You guys don't understand what this man did. He's had 50 years of experience. I just want to say this.
I know. I'm just saying it's just the way he walks and talks.
Yes.
So, and Trump just had a birthday last week, and he's 2 years younger. 2 years. He's 78.
Talks way crazier.
But he talks fast and loud and
makes no sense.
I know, but I'm just telling you for dumb people, the optics of that.
That reads as energy and youth.
But here's the thing.
Power.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's compare. You know how you fix it? Here's how you fix it. You just write it down. I just watched Biden answer a bunch of stuff at the G7 where he sat down and gave a very long interview regarding on where we are in the world, what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, what happened with Trump, why all the stuff that's wrong. And he was very clear, very specific. We can't do this. We can't do that. This is what America stands for. It's very clear. Mm-hmm. Write that down and put that next to what Trump says. The thing he said about, so I'm on a boat, right? It's electric boat.
My gosh.
I got an electric boat and the boat sinks.
The fucking shark
so now
thing.
the batteries, and thing, but there's a shark 10 feet away. Do I get on the boat or do I go 10 with the shark 10 yards away from me? I'm like,
and then he segues into how many shark attacks we've had lately.
Yeah, we had a lot of shark attacks lately.
Because the fucking sycophants behind him are like,
because they're paid. The people that are sitting behind him.
Yeah, I know.
Because Trump, by the way, is he can't talk policy without a teleprompter. He doesn't know. Someone said that Fauci. So Fauci has a book coming out, and I listened to him. So he's doing the whole thing, interview. You know, he's like, here's how important money is to people. Fauci's got death threats, crazy. He's like, no, I'm going to hoard this book. Yeah. Well, I'm pouring this book. So he goes out and he's talked to everybody, and he said that during COVID, that Trump didn't understand between a virus or a
bacteria.
He just didn't understand viruses or diseases, or he didn't understand it, and so. And then he would come in and go, you know, I like you. I like you. I think you're great. He goes, but you can't say what you said. Well, what he said was hydroxychloroquine didn't work. Trump called him in his office and fucking screamed at him. He's like, the stock market just dropped 600 points because you said that. So you just cost the country $1 trillion. And like, Fauci's like, I stopped AIDS, bitch.
Yeah, right. Right.
I saved millions and millions of lives while your incompetence killed 1 million in this country. What are you talking about?
What was it? What was the word? He did an interview a few weeks ago and they said they were talking about abortion. And then they said, well, how do you feel about contraception? And he goes, well, I think that's something that we're going to be bringing our platform forth about that very soon. And in the next week, maybe two, we're going to be talking about that. And you realize he doesn't know what the word contraception means.
He doesn't know. If you just said rubbers, he would have known. What do you think about rubbers?
I don't know. Hasn't he? He's probably paid for a bunch of abortions, I think.
100%.
Yeah, so he doesn't know either of them.
That's
why he doesn't know.
So then they were talking about. Do you remember at the beginning of Trump, when Trump came out and the rallies were packed? This is before when 2016 when he got before he got elected. Do you remember how everybody was like, "Fuck your feelings"?
Yes.
Like people, like really these old, obese, people, white people. Fuck your feelings, man. Other guys, I'd rather be Russian than a Democrat. Yes. So, which is great. Good America. You're a good American.
Real patriot.
Now they're saying that I don't care what the numbers say. I don't feel like the economy's doing well. Hey, fuck your feelings. Here are the numbers. Fuck your feelings. Here are the numbers. And that these are the same numbers that Trump used to scream to the rooftops that he was the best president.
Yeah. So
what I'm tired of is that this guy's record before COVID was abysmal. Mm-hmm. It was the worst. He fucked up our trade with China so bad that we're still recovering from it. Farmers lost billions of dollars, and this asshole how can you let a guy who's been bankrupt 6 times, failed at selling steaks, water, vodka, planes, football team, everything that nobody fails at, this fucker failed at. Over and over and over, and you let him run economic policy.
Oh, so even if you,
it's not a game, man.
Even if you took the COVID thing away, he would still be considered the worst president in history.
Yes,
but we can't discount how he reacted to COVID, because that was the worst of all leaders on the fucking planet.
Well, we also saw when Biden came in how high handle it. I mean, I did it in zero side effects.
Like within weeks,
we were within weeks we were in a parking garage with a line of 1,000 people getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
It was literally like that. I remember we drove to Pomona. We drove all the way to Pomona.
It was organized. Somebody who was cared about the country and moving forward. And all of a sudden, it was a collective, like, oh, thank God. We have
people also forget
a leader, an actual leader.
Also forget what else Trump did was he came in and he closed all the pandemic response team offices.
Yeah. especially the one in Wuhan.
It's like, how can the guy, like, it's almost everything he does. You just know when he does something, oh, fuck, that's about to go bad. That's about to go bad. He closed all the pandemic response offices, especially the one and even the one in Wuhan, and then we have a pandemic. And I remember when Obama was president, talking about, he goes, look, one day we're going to have something. I'm starting this worldwide pandemic response team so we can get ahead of it before it happens.
Yeah.
And he closed it. He actually stopped we can go over it again, the Iran nuclear agreement. So now we can't tell whether Iran has nukes or not, but we used to be able to. He is he's licking Putin's taint left and right. The reason Putin wants Trump back in is because then Trump will stop everything, all money going to Ukraine.
Oh, then we have a new sort of axis of evil.
Well, we have it now. Do you know that? Did you see that? This happened this week. North Korea and Putin have signed like a NATO agreement that they're supposed to help each other now. Yep. So if China signs on to that, and Iran,
these are the two people that Trump always speaks so highly of.
Yep. Yes, and Iran signs on to that, and Orban signs on to that. We now have NATO and this other group, and that is the beginning of World War III. 100%. Again, I'll say it again.
Yep.
Wars don't start on Thursday. It takes about 3 years.
Yep.
2 to 3 years before a world war starts. And we are fucking every day. We seem to be taking a step further.
Yes, we are marching towards it. Yep.
Yes. Every time I read something, what did I tell you today? What did I say today? I said, if I call you and say, get in the car, we're
yeah,
going
but you say that all the time.
No, but every time something happens, we're just creeping towards it.
If we don't, like you said in the Armageddon update, if we don't want World War III,
vote.
We have to keep Biden in office. Yes. Because if Trump takes over, it's going to be Putin, the U.S., North Korea, China versus NATO.
China.
And Trump's going to pull out of NATO, which we are the biggest member of NATO, and we have the most money and we have the most weapons. And what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then how many hundreds of thousands of Americans are going to die? Or how many hundreds of thousands or millions of Americans are going to get vaporized? Mm-hmm. People don't understand this man. Biden, here's the thing. Say what we will about Biden. Biden loves America. He loves the idea of America. You can tell he loves what this country stands for. He gets it. That's why when I saw him and Obama together, at that benefit they did, you had this moment of like, it's like getting lemonade on a hot day. You're like,
he was at the founding. I mean, he
was there. He knew George Washington. They went and drank together, him and Thomas Jefferson. You're right. Biden was there.
He still has his white wig.
He needs to put it on. I don't know what's happening there.